This is David Murray interviewing Mr. Bates for the Snead State Media Club History Project. When you went to school here, what was the atmosphere of the college when you went to class?
Well, it was, you knew a lot of people. I mean, it was a lot of folks because I went to Boys High School, so it was a lot of folks we knew, and a lot of folks that I'd played ball against and been around. So it's a lot of folks that you knew. So it was a pretty good community atmosphere. I probably seem pretty much like it is today. So,
What were the years that you went to Snead?
I was at Snead from '86 to '88.
And what were the classes that were offered at Snead?
Then we were on quarter system. So you had, instead of 2 semesters, you had 3 quarters during the year. So you'd end up taking a lot of the same stuff. I was an English major when I was here, so I had every English class we had, which was all the lits and the comps of 6 total English classes, then through calculus and all the stuff in math and biologies and the whole 9 yards. So ended up transferring about 90 hours to Auburn when I went. So,
Did you have a favorite teacher?
I had several favorite teachers, actually. I had some really good English teachers that are now retired that you would know, but I did also have a couple of teachers that I now work with, Dr. Denham and Dr. Freshwater. I had them as teachers in class. So they wouldn't like to admit that, but I did. So.
Did you live in the dorms or did you live off campus?
Well, actually, it's not really off campus. The little gray house that's now the Alumni house is where I lived.
Oh,
so
okay.
My dad actually sold that to the college, so it was technically off campus, but not very far off. So.
What were some of the clubs and activities that went on at Snead?
Well, we still had the ambassadors. I was an ambassador. They had Phi Theta Kappa then. I was in Phi Theta Kappa. They had the business club. I think Phi Beta Lambda, I think now. So, and they not quite as many as we do today. I think we have more today than we had. So.
Did you have any friends at Snead?
Oh yeah, I had a lot of buddies I went to high school with. A lot of folks I used to hang out with in different places. So it was always things going on pretty thick in the sub and stuff like that, and hanging out. So.
Do you still talk to them?
Oh yeah, still talk to a lot of them. So.
What are your favorite memories?
Favorite memories probably were just hanging out between classes. Then it was the big thing to play cards, and so there would be 40 card games going on at Snead. We'd play spades, play stuff, and so it'd be a little bit quieter probably in the sub, but that was just kind of the thing. So a lot of people played cards during classes. So.
How did Snead change your life?
Well, it really gave me a good base in college. To be honest, I didn't have any business going off to college as an 18-year-old, and it really gave me a good sound foundation, gave me a couple years to grow up a little and be a little more mature before I went off to school. Absolutely take advantage of going to Snead if you're local. It's much better preparation than trying to go and jump into a 4-year school at 18 or 19 years old. It's a whole lot better situation, and you will never regret it.
Thank you.
My name is Jana Beth Anderson, and I'm here with Miss Elizabeth Bates to do an interview for Snead State Media Club's History Project. What years did you attend Snead?
1976 to 78.
Why did you choose Snead? What was the reason you decided on the community college?
Well, because I grew up here, went to Boaz High School, and this was the next natural step to go. So, knowing everybody, most of my classmates came to Snead, so I decided to do the same.
What was the general atmosphere like? Was it kind of like just a small transition from high school into college? Was it much difference?
Not a lot. We had more freedom, of course, and the class schedule was different, which we liked. Activities, again, more freedom was probably why it was a lot more fun, because we were in college.
Right,
so
right.
that made it,
Without parents.
Without parents, which was wonderful.
When you first started going to Snead, how old were you?
Started when I was 17, so
right
after high school.
As
soon as I graduated from high school, I started Snead that fall.
You go to high school around here?
Yes,
also?
I went to Boaz.
Oh, okay. What type of classes were offered? Were they different than what they offer now, or?
No, they're pretty much the same. They were, math, English, science, history, your core courses, and then activity courses. So I took all of those that I could, because being sports oriented and being a jock, I took all of those type classes since that was my major. So I liked all the fun classes too.
Oh, of course. What about online classes? Did they have those back then?
No, there weren't even computers back
right.
then. So
I
that's how old I am.
But I had to ask.
I know.
What about summer classes? Was it just spring and fall, or was it the?
Well, I didn't do summer classes because I taught at cheerleader camps, at summer camps at the different universities in the South.
Oh,
So I didn't go to summer school. I'm sure there were summer classes, but I didn't take advantage of those. I loved my summers, so I took advantage of not going to school in the summer.
Oh, absolutely. What was your major?
Well, health and physical education, recreation, dance, all of those. Like I said, I went to school so I could play for a living.
So you basically had your hand in anything fun.
Anything fun,
Gotcha.
and I did.
Good. Did you live off campus or did you live in the dorms?
No, I lived at home because we're from Boaz, so I lived at home.
Okay, with your
my
parents and family.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Were there any club or student activities that you were specifically involved in that you enjoyed?
Well, I was a cheerleader here, so that took up the majority of my time. But because of that, we did all of pretty much anything that went on, the cheerleaders, had a part in or did. So, being any other activities or fun after school or in the evenings or on the weekends, if it had something to do with fun, and cheerleaders were involved. So that kept me pretty busy.
Gotcha. So I'm assuming since you were a cheerleader, you had plenty of friends.
Oh, yes.
Right. Did those friends end up being lifelong friends, or did you still get in touch with some of them?
Still keep in touch with them. Some of them followed me to Jacksonville. We went to Jacksonville as a group, and then I played softball with several throughout the years after we left Snead. So I do still talk to some of them today.
That's
And
awesome.
being able to get in touch with them on Facebook, that has been something that connected us after many years of not knowing where some of us were. We were able to connect that way on Facebook. So
Right, so you probably had some like from high school
Yes.
all the way through that are still friends, right?
Yes, absolutely.
That's awesome. Was there any major events going on in the world when you attended Snead, like wars or whatever, anything like that might have affected your school activities?
We had foreign students when I went to school here, but as far as the events, being a freshman, sophomore in college, honestly, that was not something that I really kept up with a lot.
Right.
So, but the difference was I do remember we did have foreign students here, and that was, for a lot of us that came from smaller high schools, that was a change for us to see students from a totally different culture. They just actually came to this country back then, like from the Middle East, Iraq, Iran, and that area, to actually just go to school.
Get just to
Just
better
to-
their lives. Okay, that's pretty cool. How did Snead impact your life, for the better or for the worse?
Oh, absolutely, for the better. I mean, it prepared me with the first 2 years of school to succeed at Jacksonville. And then being after I graduated from Jacksonville, my first job was at the high school, which I didn't stay there long. And a job opened up here at Snead. So, of course, I jumped at the chance to come back. And that was fun to be able to come back and teach at the place that I graduated from.
Was there a difference in teaching the high school kids and then being a
Huge.
instructor to the college kids?
Huge.
Maturity level?
Maturity level, and coaching. While I was coaching, that you have to deal with parents in high school and in
Oh, yeah.
college.
Not
You don't
so
have
much.
to deal with parents at all. But there was a big difference there.
If you could go back and do it all again, what would you do differently, if anything?
Well, I don't know that I would do anything any differently, because I was one of the rare few who knew from high school what I wanted to major in, and I never changed my mind. So I would still major, in health, physical education, recreation. I'd still coach. I loved doing all of that. But as far as, I don't think I would, because I had a lot of fun. So, I can't say I would go back and wish I had more fun, but I don't think I would change anything. I've taught here, I've coached here, I was a recruiter here, I've been a club sponsor here, I've done a lot of jobs here, and so you'll get me on my recruiting kick, where I would tell students to take advantage of Snead, take advantage of the programs and the coursework that's here. Get those 2 years behind you, get a good GPA, and transfer to finish your degree wherever, because this is, and after coaching, one thing I would like to say, throughout all the years that I coached, kids would come back after they've been at Snead for 2 years, sometimes 3. But it would tell me that there was no place like Snead. and they loved Snead, and that was nice to hear, because even when they would go off to play sports or to cheer at the university level, nothing was like Snead, and Snead was always special. And I think that feel around this campus is very true, and I think it still is today. The kids just really relate, and the atmosphere at Snead is different than most of the other community colleges that you'll visit. So I would like just say take advantage of what's here, this little jewel, and then that would prepare you to go on and finish your degree or your career.
Okay. Well, thank you very much, Ms. Bates. I
You're
appreciate
welcome.
it.
Thank you.
When I finished at Snead, I went to Auburn University and got my undergraduate there, and then I got my graduate degree at Jacksonville State. So, and after Jacksonville State, I went to school to be a therapist. I was a therapist for several years and taught adjunct here. And when they had some retirements in the psychology department, I got a chance to teach full time and never looked back.
After Snead, I went to Jacksonville, finished my bachelor's in Jacksonville. Couldn't find a job right then, so I started on my master's degree, finished my master's degree at Jacksonville. Taught 3 years at Douglas High School, did some nighttime coursework here at Snead, and kind of the same thing with the retirements. Then I had a chance to interview and got the job here at Snead, teaching health, physical education, recreation, dance, coaching. So I did immediately came from Douglas to Snead, and I've been here ever since.
You actually coached softball and volleyball.
Softball and volleyball to start with, and then I coached cheerleaders and dance team, and then I've been an SGA sponsor, an ambassador sponsor. I've been the student recruiter. I've been an event coordinator, and still taught. So I've had a number of jobs here at Snead. So,
how would you compare your experience at Snead to the other colleges?
I think knowing more people at Snead was a benefit. Now it was harder, I think, for you at Auburn. When you go off to a much larger university, you don't know people, and where Jacksonville was smaller, and even though it was much larger than Snead, still I think the difference is you're comfortable at Snead. And when you go off to a university, it's a whole nother world, and there are so many more people, and with that, more activities and more classwork. But it's you're not as known, I would say.
I had a lot more fun when I was at Snead than I ever did, because the time I got to Auburn, I had to kind of get serious. So, but yeah, I probably made a lot more lifelong friends and people that I still talk to today here than I did there. So.
Wouldn't you say going to the bigger colleges, you met a larger group of people from different areas, different personalities?
Sure. A lot more diversified, sure, absolutely.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
And to be honest, once you get up to junior and senior, you're still meeting a lot of folks that are in your major. So it's less different majors, but more people that are doing the same thing you are. So it's some of the same and some of different. So.
How did y'all come to meet?
Actually, Libby was teaching a class, or was planning to teach a class, a dance class, and was looking for someone to help her teach it, because it was a part. In fact, she was actually going to break down Dirty Dancing was the thing at the time, so this will date us. But there was a lot of interest, and a lot of folks had asked, hey, could you do some kind of dance? We included that in some of the ballroom, country line dancing, things like that. And she was looking for a partner, and it ended up I was talking with a buddy of mine, and he was over there for one of her other classes, and overheard her, and I said, and I knew her from high school. We'd never been dated or anything, so I kind of knew her, but I said, I'll be a partner. And I didn't know what I was getting into at the time. But,
No, he really didn't.
But we spent the next quarter breaking down all the dances that we're going to do and learning them so that we could teach them and showing them, and then taught the class. So
That's really kind of how we got together, so to speak. So from there, it was actually, like, on a more personal note, people kept urging us to enter dance contests, and back then there were several, because Dirty Dancing was so popular. there were a lot of different contests, and so we were like, well, why not? So we did, and thankfully entered several, and won a lot of things, of which included a trip to Los Angeles for the weekend to meet Patrick Swayze and his wife Lisa Nemi, and we toured Universal Studios. We got pictures. We danced with them, so it was a lot of fun to spend that weekend out there with a whole lot of other dancers, of course, that knew the movie and knew the steps, and then to have dinner and to dance with them and for them. Yeah. That was a lot of fun. So that kind of kicked our relationship off.
Yeah, that really
off there.
Because when we first started doing it, it was all business. We both were in a relationship with somebody else. It was just kind of one of those things that worked into it. But we won another dance contest where we won a limo ride to Six Flags to see a concert. I mean, it was pretty
the
cool.
Dirty Dancing tour.
Yeah,
so we saw that and
so it was pretty
spent some
neat.
time with them. That was fun. Yeah.
You knew each other from high school. What was our relationship during high school?
Well, we didn't date or anything. I just knew who she was. I mean, I played football and she was a cheerleader, so I knew who she was. So, you know.
So they were sort of in the same circle.
Ran in the same circles, sort of.
Just not
but we didn't really date or anything.
really
so.
talk much.
Flying all the way to Los Angeles, we had to take a trip. It was to Dallas Fort Worth, DFW, and that were and if you've ever been to that airport, it was a nightmare. So this is, you know, I'd only flown an hour and a half anywhere in my life, and so it was, you know, it was a pretty big deal. And so across the country, big plane flight, get there trying to navigate in Los Angeles. We rented a car and said we want to go see the beach because we're here. And if you've ever driven in Atlanta, multiply it by 10, and that's driving in Los Angeles, looking back on what we were thinking. But
we were young.
That kind of scares me.
It was kind of scary.
Looking back, I wouldn't do it again now. But we got to the beach and got to walk. So, you know, we'd gotten on the beach on the West Coast because we'd been to the Gulf, but never the West Coast beach. And
Totally different beach.
Totally different beach. And got to see that at sunset, and that was nice. But they had a lot of activities planned for us. We toured Universal Studios. They did we had the big party the night was at the Gene Autry Museum, where they had the big thing, the meeting with Patrick and Lisa Nemi. And so I had a big ballroom set up at the hotel where they had a big dance thing, so everybody kind of get together and just have fun. So it was pretty busy. It was a busy weekend. So.
But that's kind of what I'll interject a little bit, where we actually got engaged and made plans for the rest of our life out there. So that was a kind of a big event that is special to us. Alabama and Auburn played in Auburn. And of course he had tickets and had to give those tickets up to go on this trip because that was the same weekend. So as it turned out, I think that that trip was better.
Worth it.
It was worth it.
It used to always be played at Legion
In
Field.
Birmingham.
In '89 was the first year that ever happened. They played it at Auburn, and being a student, I had student tickets, and my cousin really enjoyed my student tickets.
But then we really enjoyed the weekend.
It was worth it.
In Los Angeles. I believe, worth it. Very worth it.
I would say Los Angeles would turn out much better
Trumps
than
that
Auburn
one
would have.
by far. Yes.
What was y'all's favorite dance?
Well, a lot of the dirty dancing things we still like to do. No, we don't do them as much as we used to because we've aged somewhat since then. But you know, if you've ever watched the movie,
we learned the movie.
The ending dance where they do the big scene on the
time
thing,
of your life,
time of your life, and some of the other things, and we do a lot of those. We just break those apart from the movie, and we still enjoy doing moves from those. So. All of our parents went to Snead too.
Yeah, both. Yeah, your
both
mom and
sets.
dad, my mom
and dad were actually. They used to have a Mr. and Miss Snead. And they were in the annual. They were one of the annuals in the 50s. They were Mr. and Miss Snead. So we've got, and our kids have all gone.
Both of our boys went to Snead.
They didn't have any choices. So.
Right, same thing.
So
they didn't have any choices. So we're, let's see, what, 1, 2, we have had 3 generations.
3 generations going to Snead. So.
Going to Snead.
Sure.
So.
Do you know if your boys plan on having their kids come to Snead as well?
Well, probably. I would think.
Oh,
so.
Yeah. I figure if they're still in the area.
If they're still in the area, definitely so.
Neither one of them have any kids yet, which is probably not a bad thing. But anyway. But no, they. I figure if they're still local, they'll do the same thing. I think both of them really valued going to Snead. So.
Our oldest one, after Snead, went to Jacksonville, and he graduated in business. And then our youngest one from Snead went to the University of Alabama. Roll Tide. So he'll finish up in May, actually. So he'll be in exercise sports science, and he's looking to go to a physical therapy school to get his doctorate of physical therapy. So we, feel like they both enjoyed their times here at
Oh, yeah.
Snead as well. So it was a lot of fun.
How does it feel having an Auburn and Alabama graduates in the house?
Well, there's kind of a story behind that. I'm really an Alabama fan. I was held hostage for a couple of years at Auburn because I was able to get a scholarship there. And so I just had to put away all of my crimson and white for a couple of years. But I enjoyed going to Auburn. There was no big issues. I had a lot of good friends there, but I still bleed crimson and white, so lifelong.
Absolutely. Tried to get him to transfer to Alabama so he would have a degree from Alabama. Couldn't get that
Couldn't
done.
get done, so.
No, couldn't
Yeah,
get
we've been treated well our time at Snead, I think.
I think
So
so.
we've gotten a lot of good memories, a lot of good things, went on. And so, we'll, unless something strange happens, we'll be here till we retire. So
Absolutely.